Hey, this is Micah, the Happy Trekkers channel. Thanks for joining. This is just one small part of a longer video, so make sure you go to the description and click the link so you can watch the entire thing. I think you're going to enjoy it. Hey, welcome back. My name is Mike, and welcome to the Happy Trekkers channel. I am talking to John Smulo today, who lives in Cebu City, Philippines. He's actually from America, so he's another American expat, but he lives over there now, and let's welcome him to the show. So welcome, John. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your channel and really looking forward to our interview.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very happy that you're here. You're a little different. You're not that much different in one sense. A lot of people think of retiring to these other places around the world. You're clearly not retired. You're a working professional. So your visa situation may be different, right?
That's right. So when you're, actually I should say you're right. The overwhelming majority of people that come from other parts of the world, especially places like the US or Canada, Australia, England, they tend to come here to retire. Right. And so, I'm kind of the young guy, even though I'm not so young anymore, because I definitely still have to work here, and I started a restaurant here. So I'm looking at other business opportunities here as well. But with visa, it's very easy for anybody to just hop over to the Philippines on a tourist, just with your passport. You don't even need a tourist visa if you come from the US, at least at this time of the video. So if anybody's watching this a bit later, make sure and check that's still the case. But you basically could come over here and stay for 3 years currently. You just have to keep getting renewals of a tourist visa. And then after the 3 years, you just need to leave for a day and then hop right back for another 3 years. So there's expats that have lived here for a decade that have been doing that. However, there's a class of visa called SSRV visas, where there's different ways that you can apply to stay here a bit longer. So, for example, one of them is if you have 10 employees or more, you're able to apply for one of the type of SSRV visas. So there's a lot of options, but I would say if anybody's thinking about coming to the Philippines for a month or two or even a year, just come on over on a tourist, just your normal passport. I can't even really necessarily call it a tourist visa. You do have to renew and get an extension, but it's at the moment very lax here for people to come over and live.
How often do you have to get that extension?
So it starts off after a month, and then mostly it really depends. So I've had anywhere between 1 month at a time and 6 months at a time. It's not a lot of rhyme or reason sometimes, but for people I would expect to be at immigration for about 3 hours every 1 to 6 months.
Okay, which isn't terrible. I mean, the fact that you can stay for 3 months, or I'm sorry, for 3 years, and just sort of keep renewing that, there's a lot of countries, there's no way you could pull that off. So you have to get out. And come back perhaps, but you have to physically leave and then make those border runs to the nearest country and fly back in. But to go 3 years is actually quite a long time.
Yeah, the Philippines, I would say, is very hospitable to people that want to come and stay here. And I hope it stays that way for a long time. I am starting to see videos about Vietnam right now where people had lived there for 8-9 years and all of a sudden they're not renewing visas. So I hope that situation never happens in the Philippines, but it's a great place to come very easily to stay.
No kidding. Hey, I wanted to take a moment to let you know about our 2 travel journals that are available right now on Amazon. There's lots of spaces in here for you to write down all the places you want to go, things to do when you get there, where you want to stay, how much money is it going to take. And again, there's a lot of note areas where you can write down all your experiences and your adventures so you can share these with your friends and your family when you return. I think you're going to love these books. They're available on Amazon right now. Pick yourself up a copy. So, you mentioned employees. I want to touch on that because you obviously have a company there, but you're not a citizen. So is there any challenges around that?
There is. So up until pretty recently, if you wanted to own a business in the Philippines, you could only be 40% owner. And then there would be Philippine citizens that would need to make up the other 60%. And often, very often, the Filipino citizens might be an employee, or they might be your neighbor, or they
Really?
might be a friend. And it really led to not always ideal situations.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes, because the Filipino citizens normally would just be on the paperwork, kind of in name only,
Right?
but really they were the majority owners. Often they wouldn't have access to bank accounts. It was just messy.
Yeah.
And so starting in March of 2019, the Philippines government started a new type of corporation, which is called a one-person corporation, or OPC, and that allows people, including foreigners, to be able to 100% own a corporation in the Philippines. So my
Wow.
first company here, Purple Cow Agency, which is a business process outsourcing company here, and the sister company to my Purple Cow Agency marketing company in California, is a one-person corporation. So it works out really well. If anybody's interested in starting a business over here, I have a video where I interview an attorney on my channel about that one-person corporation if people want to find out more.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we put a link to that
Appreciate
in
it.
the description. That's a great, because I was thinking, like you said, prior to 19, as I mentioned, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the recording, but my wife was born in the Philippines, but she moved here when she was 3. Her mother's Filipino.
Sure.
So she
Sure.
got her citizenship when she was a teenager, and she had eventually had dropped her Filipino, but she
Sure.
now, as full-grown adults, she can go back and get her dual citizenship. And we've always thought, well, she could do that, and that would free us up for all these little problems, owning a business, owning land, all these other things she would now qualify for. But it's very interesting to know that that's not even necessarily needed now from owning a business perspective.
That's right. So there is certain types of businesses where foreigners are not able to have that one-person corporation or own them, and I forget exactly all of the ones that those are, but most of the common types of businesses that you would want to have, foreigners would be able to have that as well. So right now, the only thing that is kind of a big deal that foreigners aren't able to do here now, as you mentioned, is own land.
Right.
So you have to be a citizen to still own land.
So tell me, so obviously you researched it, you had employees and that sort of thing before you went there. But when you got there, what were some other challenges that you just were not expecting? Maybe they just completely caught you off guard.
Sure. Well, you mentioned employees. So a big part of my life is running 2 different businesses over here, and hiring is a lot different. Work culture is a lot different. Leadership, management, a lot of those type of things that I felt like I was doing a decent job in California. I feel like I'm starting over from zero in a lot of ways. So in California, I think most people would have thought I was a pretty nice boss, but here sometimes in comparison, I feel like a big jerk.
Really?
Part of that is not really. I mean, I have a great relationship with my employees, but sometimes I know that I've really hurt someone's feelings, and so here I think that people aren't so direct in communication. They kind of take the side road to get to the point,
Yeah.
and I really have always tried my best to be as aware as possible of others' feelings and how I communicate things, and to show empathy.
Right.
But I just suck at that here in comparison. I've had men and women, crying during, conversations over here that truly in the US would be fairly normal. And I think that's because people care so much here. I think they're so sensitive, where they really take things on as quite a weight. And so I've really been in the process. I'm not even going to pretend to say that I figured this out, but really a process of trying to figure out leadership and management cross-culturally here in the Philippines. Sometimes it just gets frustrating. So, you know, it's really different, and time is different. Even with interviews, sometimes people show up late on Filipino time, as you know, they call it over here, and sometimes just don't show up at all. So those things are really different. Family is seen as such a high priority here that that's an excuse for anything that might come up, to not be at work or to be late. And so on the one hand, I really adore how much Filipinos love family and the priority that takes here. I think us Americans have a lot to learn from how family truly is here.
Yes.
But then, you know, the flip side of that coin is what that looks like for work and different things like that as well. So so with work, I love my, you know, team here, and overall it's been a great experience, but also a challenge in some of those ways. You know, apart from that, with challenges, you know, I think those are really the big ones for me over here as well. Just understanding why things take as long as they do, you know, trying to understand, you know, communication differences. But other than that, it's really truly just been a joy living here and connecting with people.
Well, John, thanks so much. This has been so much fun. As I mentioned, my wife being Filipino, it's always been on our top list of things or places to retire to, and even early retire, if not do like you're doing and move there and work there. We both work online, so it's becoming more and more of a possibility. And talking to you is, I think, has moved it up to the top now. I'm very excited about it.
Great. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to see you guys over here.
Absolutely. Be happy to come visit you. Thanks again. Hey, I really hope you liked that video. Why not check out some of the other great videos on this channel? And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks a lot, and keep on trekking.